The impending ISIS siege of Kobani, the Kurdish-Syrian border town, 300 yards outside Turkey, continues while Turkish tanks and the army remain idle. Why? With me now, former U.S. Ambassador to the UN and Fox News contributor John Bolton. Good evening, Ambassador. What's stopping Turkey from saving Kobani?
Well, I think the Turks have very mixed motives here. Remember that many of the ISIS fighters who are involved now both in Syria and Iraq got into Syria in the first instance through Turkey, through winks and nods by the Turkish government because of their opposition to Assad. I think what the Turks' main interest is here is preventing the struggle from coming into Turkey. They don't have any interest in defending the Kurds. They've had their own long, very difficult relationship with the Kurds, and I don't think they mind all that much that these two sides are going after each other. It's a good demonstration of just how complex the environment is there and how even a NATO ally like Turkey can have its own interest first rather than the overall interest, what should be the overall interest of stopping the ISIS terrorists.
And in terms of Turkey and its own experience or history with the Kurds, I mean, aren't the Turkish Kurds trying to separate from Turkey?
Many of them are, and I think the Turks are very worried that Iraqi Kurdistan is now de facto independent, and they worry what the implications would be for Turkey as well. So the notion that we can count on Turkey as a NATO ally or that we somehow have to come to Turkey's defense, I think is a mistake. I think Turkey comes to this fight with very unclean hands.
Well, first of all, why are they even in NATO? They have a huge military. They have a tremendous amount of ammunition and jets, et cetera, et cetera. So if they're not doing anything for NATO and they're literally watching the fight as if they're at a movie, I mean, why aren't they kicked out of NATO?
Well, I think we're in a struggle for the future of Turkey. The Turks themselves obviously in the middle of it. Up until the Erdogan government, when he became prime minister and now president, Turkey followed the post-World War II Kemal Ataturk plan of a secular, westernizing Muslim country. Erdogan, under his term in office, has tried to move Turkey in an Islamicist direction. I don't think that's in our interest to allow that to happen, not that we have a lot of sway, but I think we ought to be backing the secular Turks who want to stick with the direction they took after World War I and oppose Erdogan. So at this point, the Turks themselves are taking themselves out of NATO.
And, you know, Ambassador, in the end, you know, if Kobani falls, isn't there a risk of 160,000 Kurds dying in some kind of genocide there?
Well, this is part of how complicated it is. Inside Turkey and throughout Europe, in fact, Kurds have been demonstrating against the Turks' indifference. So they may well have provoked more of a problem by standing off than if they had actually gotten involved. And I think all of this reflects the utter lack of leadership of the United States. To come back to your point about Turkey being a NATO ally, if we had a coherent strategy to deal with ISIS, if we were acting effectively against it, it'd be a lot easier to bring Turkey and many others into line.
And do you agree that, you know, Turkey does have the boots on the ground if they wanted to use them and the tanks on the hill that would make a difference in this fight?
Well, that's a very graphic demonstration. As I say, this is part of Turkey's schizophrenia, at least under Erdogan. They wanted these jihadis to get into Syria to oppose Assad, and now it's sort of come back to bite them. And I'm not sure that we can really count on Turkey for all that much. I think we need more cooperation from the Arab states, the Saudis, the United Arab Emirates, and others in this fight against ISIS.
What a nightmare. Ambassador John Bolton, thanks so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
All right. And